Thank you, sir. Good morning, everybody. My name is Greekson Zweni. I'm from Mzimvubo Farmer Support Network, which is an NGO that assists the farmers in the area of the chief who's from here and to other areas. Like the chief have said, it's a sad place, and I think maybe the Western Pondoland. The infrastructure which is done by the government in other places, there is nothing in most of his communities. No roads, even accessing the place by foot is hard. There are no clean water. I mean, even the streams, they're catching water from the big rivers. They carry water by donkeys. They carry sick people by the homemade, those things for carrying people, like in the hospitals. I mean, everything is sad. And the drought have made it worse because the other crops which they used to grow, maize, beans, pumpkins, and the rest, they're no more growing because of the drought. And the holy ancestral crop, dacha or cannabis, is still the only one growing properly. And they have been living with this from generations and generations. With the people there, we don't see this as a drug. And in fact, it's not a drug. The word drug, I think, came with the colonial governments, and our government also inherited that. Like you can see in most of the things they inherit, sometimes the wrong things from the West. I'm not saying things from the West are wrong. Some are good, but some of them, they're just there to suppress us. For instance, if you look at the MCC, it's following the West style in accepting medicines as medicine, following their own system. Meanwhile, we're here before they came, and we're using medicines. And we're not even represented in that MCC. By the way, as I'm representing UFSN, I'm also a traditional health practitioner. Right now, the same MCC is trying to regulate us. And they came up with a booklet which is prescribing how we should do our things. And we are another line, another system altogether. We don't follow their style of research, style of doing things. We have our own ways. And through that process, they're cutting us from many indigenous practices, including cannabis. So what I'm saying, these people, like Chief have alluded to, they're living on this, like you heard him pleading the government, at least to give a chance to those people to live. Unless the government is saying, don't live, you must end the life. So our work as Mzimvubo Farmers Support Network, we came into the community because we noticed that for many years, they have been sprayed by helicopters, and there was nobody talking about that. It was just quiet. Even the government departments, which are supposed to be checking and knowing what's happening down there on those people, there was nothing happening. Like you, we all know the work of the NGOs. We felt it, and we went to them, and we formed a network, and the network included lawyers, specialists in different fields, lawyers, journalists, and other NGOs. And we spread the information through media and other means. Many people coming there started assisting us. And we're getting stories, like you see the pictures. People were getting stories of what happened, the real stories. And through the lawyers and other NGOs, we saw the government stopping spraying the people. And up to now, we noticed that they are not spraying the people. Now, the laws which are coming up, some people will say they are good. But when you go sometimes to the communities, they said no, the prices will drop and everybody will grow, then we will have nothing to live on. But how we see it, like you see the Green Fields for All was presenting here and other people, as long as it is regulated, I don't mean regulated by the government, only regulated by the government, inclusive of the input from the other people who are actually on the field, including the communities. And were saying nothing for us, about us without us. And we're saying, support us, don't punish us. So the solutions, really I'll be wasting the time of the House if I go to them. If you see the presentation, the first presentation today, according to us, we are almost the same, going the same way. And I think they open for discussions, hence the people were asking questions here on them. But what we are also adding is that in the case of these communities who are sincerely and really growing it to make a living, they should be supported. Supported how? Like growing quality stuff and bringing more options on the use of the product, which is cannabis, so that they make more money, they develop to a certain extent. Because the reality of it now, cannabis here is our plant. And unfortunately, like you see in most of the things, we don't develop so fast.
Chief, you have plenty of time, so if you want to talk about solutions, you can do that too.
Thank you. Excuse me. So we're saying more skills or more methods of developing our South African poorest of the poor communities who are innocently living on cannabis. So the more skills, the other skills which are in the government, NGOs, or individuals, should be taught to those poor people. This will help the people and then the economy of the country. Like processing the marijuana, because with us, we just grow it as you see it there. Once it's ready, we cut it, and through the black market, we sell it. And we don't get much from that. So coming with extra skills, which the European Africans, I would say, and some people know, like it happens in all the fields. They will always develop everything, to a certain level to get the value, the maximum value can get from a crop or whatever product. On the licensing, on a serious note, there should be more engagements which will be growers friendly. Not the one we had that the government will be getting somebody licensed to come and grow and take over what we live on and come up with exorbitant amounts which we can never have as communities. Many, many models can come up, but mainly to empower the poorest of the poor. And we're not just alone. It has started in many countries, and there are so many models. So we are fortunate we can use our thinking, but also take the best practices on other places. What was shown there, what is shown there, is after spraying, the brown part is the one which has been sprayed. So the glyphosate, when it's killing the plants, it won't choose the cannabis. It's killing everything. And if you are, like the chief alluded, if you are a neighbor to that field and you have no cannabis in your field, the thing will go to your field, destroy your field. And nobody cares about that. You will see for yourself what to eat, what to live on. And remember, there are no industries, there are no shops. And this, we see it as encouraging people to move to the cities, leave their places, go and look for a job. If they don't get a job, they start doing wrong things. In fact, they are made criminals by the government. So what we wish to happen is that the government come closer to the people instead of punishing them, support them by coming up with better means of living, not doing this. And also the traditional healers, if you see the vegetation burning, nothing will stop burning our medicines there. Even if the poison is not burning the medicine, it's changing, the whole setup of the thing. It's changing the energy of the crops we use there. It's changing the water. It's changing everything. And our crops, it's not that positive, but it's supposed to help us when we compete with other markets after being assisted in preparation of the soil, good seeds, processing, marketing. Our prices are still low. You can get the statistics of our prices compared to prices in Swaziland and other countries. So it's economical, So the government assisting us to grow under proper regulation, which is grower-friendly, it will help us. And also, if the government is quiet, under the same black market will be exploited by the big guys. Because when they come and assist us, we'll accept that, for sure, trying to dodge our government like we've been doing for generations and generations. But we never stopped. Not because we don't respect our government, we don't obey. No, because there's no other option. But now, as an NGO, the alternatives we are applying is agricultural tourism, any other catch crops. We're coming with that, but we don't have the power, and we don't intend doing that, to say to the communities, stop growing cannabis. Because it's used in many things. Like me, as a Sangoma, sometimes when I come to Nhlombe, it's a private place, Poisa, if there's Poisa here. Sometimes before I do the dancing and do anything, I have to take a bit of cannabis. Sometimes even to heal a person, I have to heal myself. It's our system. It has nothing to do with the Western systems. So we do it our way, and it has been done by our forefathers, and it's working for us. So I'm not discriminating here, but I'm just trying to explain that these are two systems. The Western system, which tends to be followed by our own brown government. They disturb us. In fact, by the way, even this morning I had one sack. Ancestors told me, I won't get drunk. It's not, we don't have cases of addiction and all those things in the real rural setup. Instead, we have housey, family disrupted because of alcohol and the other drugs. And here in the area, from a Transkei, the drugs, the word drug and the other drugs, all along we've been thinking it's something like cocaine and all those things. And we didn't have them. They recently came. So really we shouldn't be affected by these drug issues allocated to our holy plant, which is cannabis. So cannabis is not a drug according to us. We know that it depends how you use it. It can come to a level of becoming termed as a drug. Otherwise, in the lifestyle of us living here, it's not a drug. We also formed National Council of National Union of Cannabis. National Cannabis Union, where we also have a lot of experts in trying to organize the whole setup. Like the word says, national is for the whole country. And they're guiding people to respect the government, but advise the government. Try to follow, the right, like the first presentation was putting up what we expect, what we suggest the government does. And so we're busy working on that, trying to help the people. And we hope, that the recommendations which came up in forming a drug policy in South Africa, really they're going to some ears who are taking decisions. Not just something to keep people here talking and talking, then the next thing, nothing happens. People are getting arrested, there is no change, everything is on a standstill. This is a money-making crop. And if the government is listening and following this, it will find that the poorest of the poor, which were not adding any much value to the government, will be producing big monies, boosting our economy. In finishing, I would say, we should always remember that you might be a lawyer, a judge, a police by profession, have all those books and laws, but books and laws are nothing when the mother country is in need. You can have your books and everything, but when we find that we're hungry, there's nothing else we can do. We forget about your laws. We start growing our own things, trying our own means. And in all of us here, there is nobody who likes that. When there's a government, we're supposed to be respecting the government, following what the government is saying. But if the government is going astray, I'm telling you, people won't stop. Hence, they've started these laws, but up to today, people didn't stop. Instead, they continue doing what they're supposed to be doing. Thank you.